tea, hot chicks, hot days.
Yeah.
Look at this one here with the pink work thing, eh? So you think I should get a phone number? Eh?
No, but I think you need to get a video of it.
That pink construction hat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a phone number, baby.
You better leave that woman alone. She's gonna hit you with that stop sign.
Put a dent in your truck.
Yeah, she's gonna, like a pool stick, hit you right in the...
Is he directing her?
No,
Is he teaching her?
Yeah, he's teaching her
How to turn a sign?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here I brought my 2015. I spoke to David last night and I said to him, man, I'm having a big problem. Just what I thought will be a little seal just to replace, which will take like 2 minutes. Turned out to be a lot more than that. It is the clutch arm seal that I wanted to replace down over there. Took the little circlip out and thought I should just pick it up. But
Sure.
yeah, this little one over here.
Yeah.
I took that little circlip out, thought I can just pick it up, but no, to replace the seal inside there, but I can't. I actually have to pull a shaft to move it off the shaft to be able to do it, right? So you got to be careful. I was almost ready to put a hammer to it to try and hit it out, right?
Yeah. Ike's answer to all mechanic
Where's the
issues.
hammer?
If one hammer's not good enough, get a bigger one. Yeah, so hopefully, you know, these little projects will put a little bit on each one of the episodes to kind of, I think, inspire folks that, hey, you know, you can do a lot of these small projects yourself, save you some money, and again, it shows you how your bike works, which then in turn helps you, I think, in your technique and how you're riding, because you're more one with your machine. And,
We've always said is that the bike is talking to you all the time when you're riding. It's trying to tell you stuff all the time. So, you know, if you can't understand what all those things are because you have no mechanical skills, all you want to do is just ride, then you're not going to be able to set the bike up properly for what you want.
Well, let me say this.
Okay.
So this was the first ride on the bike since I've got it rebuilt, and it ran great.
Yeah, no, that thing's got a lot of power.
Yeah, it was nice. Oh yeah, definitely different than the 20. It's the suspension is harsher and set up for my weight, whereas the 20 still got the stock suspension. So I had to ride it differently. It wants to be ridden harder. It was, when I was kind of babying it, it was definitely wanting to jump up out of the corners and stuff, and it was really, you know, the hard edges and stuff, it didn't seem to like it all that much. So we softened it up just a hair, kind of deal with the hard dry track, but all in all the motor was pulling good. Yeah, I think it's, you know, when you really get an understanding, when you pull that thing apart, when you pull the piston off the wrist pin, and you know, you're setting the rings when you're putting the new piston back in there, and you're making sure that the gaps aren't, you know, one right up above the other, that they're at least a quarter of the way around the piston. You get everything set back, you put the wrist pin in, and then you slide that cylinder down on top of that piston, and you get it all, everything bolted back down, and you realize, you know, what it takes to get that thing to develop power, so that when you're out there, you just, you know,
you have a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah,
it's like having made your bed in the morning.
Right.
Good job. At least I started off the day good. I've accomplished the first step, right?
It's, you know, to have that whole top end pulled off and put new stuff back in it, new timing chain, new piston, new rings, hone the, you know, cylinder out a little bit just so that you know, gets a new seat with the rings. I mean, it just, and then you get out there and you're kind of hesitant if it's anything's going to mess up, you know, and then you check it, make sure that you still got all your bolts on there, that, you know, and then finally when you get that feel, okay, now I can start rolling,
she's ready to go,
and go, and it's like, man, it feels good knowing you did that. Right. I think a lot of your really good riders, whenever you listen to Valentino Rossi, right, when he's explaining to the mechanics what he needs done, he has an understanding for the bike and what he needs out of it. So
most of the time,
what we'd like to do is, and you tell us if this is something y'all want to see. If not, you know, we'll probably still do it anyway. But Ike is going to provide a riding tip every episode, and we're going to try and do a
mechanical part.
a mechanical piece to the video, something. And so we'd
and
like
obviously talk a little bit of crap as well.
So that's the little clip that you have to remove, and then from
this won't come up here like this, and to be able to come up here, you actually have to pull the shaft.
Right, so we'll have to pull the shaft on the clutch side. We have removed the case on the clutch side here, as you can see. These have been loosened up. We'll take this pressure plate off, and then we'll pull the clutch rod that on the other side, the clutch lever pushes against, and then opens this basket up so that it relieves pressure from the clutch on the motor, and then it slips. When you let the clutch out, the rod collapses and then lets the basket collapse down on the clutch plates. So we have to pull this pressure plate off, pull the rod out, which will release the clutch.
We're just going to take this last one out here now.
Right, so we've taken the clutch springs out. We're going to take the pressure plate off to reveal the little needle bearings. And we may not use the exact technical terms in a lot of this, but I think you kind of get the idea.
That's the whole shaft that goes right through to the other side.
All right.
It's picking up all the way.
Look at that.
Picking up all the way now. Beautiful. Beautiful. There it is. Oh, and you see, that's the cam thing you were talking about, right?
Yeah. So when that twists, right here, hold it up.
Back into that position.
So when that twists, this little, because it's kind of got an offset to it, when that twists, when you pull the clutch, right, it pushes on the rod that goes through the engine case and then pushes the pressure plate open, which relieves pressure on the clutch plates and allows the bike to slip. Then when you release it, right, it backs off, allowing the springs on the pressure plate to push the pressure plate, which mashes the
power.
Yeah, it mashes the clutch disc back together and puts the power here. All right, so here we have the seal that's leaking, and as Ike was saying, you know, when the motor gets hot, this seal has failed, and what has started doing is bubbling oil out of the seal, and I can tell, you can see right there where it's got a bad spot on it. So we'll lift this bad boy out. All right. Now, I don't know if you can see, there are a bunch of little needle bearings down in there. So you don't want to mess those up and those fall out and down into the motor, or you got a problem. So we will replace and put a new seal back in it, then we'll lube up the shaft when we slide it back down in there, and be real careful not to hit any of those bearings. This is the new seal that we just pressed in there. Now it's a little tight, so whenever you do these, I would put a little bit of you can either use motor oil, we've used a little bit of grease, just real lightly. You don't want a bunch on there. We set it on, and then we had to press it down. Now we used a socket, and we just basically put it on top, and then I used some channel locks here and just used the side of the engine case to kind of press it down real gently. And so you basically want to press the seal down to where it meets the shoulder underneath, and then you can get that clip back in. And then once you get it down past this channel that the little circlip rides in, then you should be good. Right?
Yeah, you couldn't hit it because the frame was in the way, so you couldn't get a straight shot at it.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, so with the
hit
socket on there, trying to tap it down, and then it was kind of going uneven, so we just used a little bit of light pressure using the side of the engine case with a set of channel locks, and it just pressed right down in there real easy. So now what we'll do is we'll put the circlip in. Now sometimes you've got to modify your tools to do the job, so we took a set of needle nose pliers, sharpened them up a little bit so that they can go into the little holes so that we can do the job. And so that's what we've done. So Ike's gonna go ahead I'd spin that bad boy around so you can get to it.
No, it won't spin just with the one thing. You have to squeeze it.
It won't?
No. Oh, it did. Oh, there you go.
So we had to spin it around a little bit so that, you know, we could get to it. Because you don't want it back there in the back and the shaft arm being in your way. So we spun it around and the clip's in. Now all we need to do is insert the shaft.
Lube it up a little bit. If a little bit is good, more is better.
Right, yeah. It's just gonna go out the tailpipe anyway. Is that the side? Hold on. Look at what you...
I just want to get it in first because this is in the way.
Oh, gotcha.
There you go.
Now kind of pull it back up. Make sure that lip's not pushed down. There you go.
It's all the way down. Huh?
Alright, now push your shaft back
I'll push
in.
the shaft back here and then you work it there and I'll tell you if it's working or not. Wiggle it a bit there.
Is that what she said?
Wiggle it. There you go, it's moving. It's moving your plates there, yeah.
Alright, I think it's it.
Perfect. Yeah.
Alright, so to better explain what we're talking about. So there's a rod, and this is the other end of the rod that goes through the case. And when you pull the clutch in, it's going to pull on that clutch arm, which will push the rod open, releasing pressure on the clutch plate, right? Then the springs will, when you let the clutch out, the springs push back against the pressure plate, which shuts it back. So this is basically when I twist the clutch arm on the other side, it's basically pushing the arm through the engine over here and releasing pressure on the clutch plates. So that's basically, so in order to get the clutch arm out, you've got to take pressure off of this rod, which is what we did. So we're gonna put everything back together and should be good to go.
Awesome.
All right, she's all loaded up. How long do you think that took? realistically?
30 minutes at the most.
Yeah, maybe 40. But I mean, you know, this is a practice bike, so it's got a lot of miles on it. It's got a lot of hours, and
She's coming right again.
yeah,
I even put a new rear disc on there
yeah,
and stuff like that. So yeah, slowly but surely.
right. So you know, don't be scared to take on these little projects like this. Other than messing with the camera, I mean, like I said, it went relatively quick, and it was pretty easy. So,
But from financially, I mean, you know, it in itself is not a cheap sport. And, you know,
Right.
every time you want to go to a track, by the time you gas there and back and the track fees and everything like that, $100 is gone, you know. So, and we can't keep on spending, you know, if you want to train 3-4 times a week,
yeah, you
it's
put a lot
$300,
of,
$400 a week, you know, that you're spending, and I don't have that kind of money. So this is helping me incredibly.
well, and it's a lot of wear and tear. These items are going to wear out. I mean, if you put
Yes.
the time on your bike like you should be, week in, week out, you're going to be, you know, wearing them out. And to, you know, sort of say, you know, this seal is flat, it's up on top of the bike, and really to make sure you extend the life of some of these parts, when you wash your bike, make sure that you get the water blown off of that seal real well. Now, I'm not saying forced air, but at least, you know, I usually take a leaf blower. You know, once I clean my bike,
Because the water will stand inside there for sure.
yeah, it'll sit right on top of that seal, and you know, after a while, it's gonna definitely decay of that seal. So you definitely want to make sure that you, with a leaf blower or something like that, kind of hit your bike after you get done washing it.
What we're trying to do here is to just, for people to remember, like we said last time, is take something with you that you're going to go practice at the track. So we want to give you just little things that you need to try and look at when you're at the track and you're doing a corner. In other words, you know, am I weighing the outside thing? Is my head over the triple clamp? Am I in the right gear? You know, am I sitting in the right position? Or did I sit at the right time? Is my outside elbow up? You know, with my inside elbow down? Am I looking up ahead? You know, all these things. So you got to talk to yourself while you're doing it, because that's the only way that you're actually going to get better. Is that by your self-talk while you're doing your training.
Yeah, you don't want to get out there and just burn gas and go lap after lap after lap, and you're not, and you get off of the track and you think back, was I squeezing the bike with my knees? Was I, you know?
Then it's too late. And it's actually called practice. It's practice time. It's not a race. So it's time for you to sort out all these things. I definitely understand that when it's race day, you can't be, you know, while you're racing, am I doing this? Am I doing that? Am I doing that? No, you want to try and go as fast as you can. All this stuff has to be in your automatic system. What you want to be thinking of is that how can I get faster here? How can I get faster there? How can I take the guy over here? You know, so you plan yourself better. So race day is a totally different day to practice day. But most guys, when they go practice, they drop the bike off, they want to go around the track as fast as they can, stop, get a drink of water or whatever, and then go back out, do it again, and then load the bike and go home and think that was a good day of practice. But that wasn't, because you actually didn't learn anything.